the 6 bases, so let's find out. We are here, guys. It is game number 2 in this best of 3 final. Currently leading is JonnyREcco 1-0, but his opponent spawns in the top right-hand position. Representing FM Esports, he is the blue Zerg player. It's Ourk. And he'll be facing off against the pink Zerg, who's currently 1 game up and represents O Gaming. He's already won one of these qualifiers. Will he be able to extend that and win a second one as well and go top of the points board? It is JonnyREcco.
Well, of course, that's the big thing you noted there, that the winner of, well, if Rico wins this, he goes top of the points board. I don't think Ourk is actually ranking very highly on that, though, at the moment.
At the moment, I don't believe he is, and that's because he hasn't participated in too many of them. He's looking forward, really, to see if he can't put his name up there. I mean, even just making it to the finals, I think, should just about put him in the top 8.
Yes, it should do. That's where the money's at. Obviously, the prizes are better for first to third. 4th to 8th get still a Plantronics headset, the 380, but obviously everyone in the top 8 gets that BYOC ticket rather, and if you win that, you don't have to compete in the first stage at the I-49 finals. You get straight through into the group stages, I believe, or the bracket stage, or however it's being done.
Yep, I think that might be right, actually. I haven't had a chance to take another look at that flowchart, but one of those tickets definitely worth it, especially just being able to get free entry into the tournament as well. Very useful, and in addition to that, Swish headset as well.
And it's not just the tournament either. Insomnia is a great event. Like, there's just so much fun there.
Yeah, oh my goodness. It's going to be an interesting weekend and a half. And this time, I might choose to go all out in the pub quiz night.
You reckon?
I'm lining my stomach in anticipation. That's all I'm going to say.
That would be pretty fun. We should have a caster pub quiz team.
And get absolutely destroyed by everyone.
If only there was a math section.
Yeah, then we'd win everything. What's the answer to this question? It's undefined. I got it.
That is undefinable.
It's undefinable.
And then they come back and the answer was infinitely. And we just like drown our sorrows for the rest of time.
That's where the cases of beer come in, my friend.
Okay, I'm glad you got it worked out.
Yep, 17 to 16 drones at the moment, guys. JonnyREcco currently in the lead. Very slender one at that. He's only just completing his pool as well. So we'll have that slightly later inject timing. So it's going to even out in the end.
Yeah, it's a little bit there, a little bit here. It's not a huge difference, and that really was the story of game number 1, though, remember, Jorasar, that neither player got that huge lead at any point. It was little things that allowed Rico to win, and therefore Ourk probably not going to be too happy about that little lead coming for Rico once again.
That's right. So, well, we'll see. I mean, ZVZ is the kind of matchup, you know, where even if you get a little lead, just a quick little attack, say 4 Zerglings picking off a drone or 2 when you're not being careful, for example, can change something like that very quickly indeed. So we'll be keeping an eye on proceedings. We see 2 Lings now from Ourk coming into the natural, wanting to see what's on offer. Will he be able to get up the ramp? Yes, he will, and only a single shot off on the Queen, so he gets a complete full scout, and both sides going to be going for their Baneling nests.
Yeah, Rico this time as well gets a full scout out and sees the Baneling nest there. The Baneling nest was scouted as well by Ourk, so this is completely different to game number 1, where of course we saw that quick Roach upgrade play. This game is going to be Ling Bling. On 2 bases, might I add, Jorasar.
Oh, you know what that means, though? It means that inevitably we're going to see a situation where the players get that out off of 2 bases, and then the following skirmish ends more or less in a draw, and they both go up to 3. It's the Metal's Curse.
Or what could happen is they could both flood nothing but Zerglings and Banelings now, and we get 20 minutes of intense Ling Bling micro.
No, that would be this game called Wings of Liberty.
Ah, I keep forgetting that. Right. Right.
Well, that was a pretty good game.
It was a pretty good game.
Apart
from those Broodlord Infester thingies, they weren't. As a caster, they weren't too fun. PVZ was just like, oh, no one died in the first 10 minutes.
Oh, if you want a great example, Roro versus oh my goodness, how can I forget this? The last GSL final, Wings of Liberty. Game number 2. Roro Symbol, I want to say?
I think you're right.
Yeah. How to make Broodlord Infester sound unbelievably interesting for an hour and a half. Go watch that Tastosis cast. Unbelievable.
It could be worse. We do occasionally now get Swarm Host on Swarm Host. Try making that interesting.
That's true. I quite like the Swarm Host, actually. It's really nice when you sort of edge closer to the unit and you're like, oh, almost on top of them, you need to be careful. And, ooh, Ling's actually forcing a cancel there. That's going to be slightly annoying. The Roach Warren having to be remade from JonnyREcco, so Ourk, small victory for him there to start off with.
Yeah, it's a little thing, but it will make a difference. The Baneliness is, of course, down. But in terms of the worker count, though, Rico is once again ahead by 4. It doesn't sound like much, but mirror matchups, every little really does help.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Ourk at the moment, he's making 5 additional drones. But Rico just finished a round of 10, so he's actually going up to 41 drones versus 50 right now. JonnyREcco's macro has just been impeccable.
JonnyREcco is a macro Zergler. That's the thing he wants to do. Now, interestingly, Ourk getting +1 melee. What do you think to that?
Oh, I think he's looking to do something pretty extreme here. He's got 18 Zerglings on the way, so I feel like this is going to be the point where the game is won or lost.
But that doesn't really make sense, though, because the lair's coming down as well. So
and he's
probably going to go up to Mutas. That seems like the logical thing. But this mass Ling play, with this tight entrance to the natural base, all Rico needs to do is just position some roaches there, cancel his third, and be happy.
Yeah, I think also the timing is so much... well, we're not going to get +1 armor anytime soon on these Lings, so the fact that these are now moving over... It feels a bit of a weird timing here from Ourk. He's moving out with a lot of these, but don't forget, this entire time, he's down 49 to 43 drones, so he really has to make this attack
Oh no,
count.
the roaches have come out! This could be disastrous for Rico! Ourk's gonna get the full round! And of course the Banelings can try and come in, but they've got to deal quite a bit of damage. That's a nice hit there. Luckily, those Banelings coming in just in time to save the majority of the roaches. That small group of 5 would not have been able to deal with that many Zerglings on their own.
Yeah, the damage that I said that Ourk had to do to make this worth it wasn't done there, basically. So he surrounded the initial roaches, but I would, to be honest, with that many Lings and knowing that the Banelings were going to waddle over, I would have preferred if he surrounded the third hatch and just tried to get that to cancel. As a result now, JonnyREcco is up 94 to 69 supply. And Ourk's going to be in a position where he'll feel like he'll just need to constantly use his larva to make a lot more Zergling to defend against this incoming aggression from JonnyREcco. And he will. But he'll be down on drones, dude.
Now, admittedly, these are 1-1 links, so they annihilate small groups of roaches, which is a bit problematic, but of course these roaches is buying a bit more time for Rico, who's getting more out back at home. He needs to keep up his third, and as you said, at the moment, Ourk just flooding more and more lings, but he hasn't really got as many as it seems, only 26 on the field.
Yeah, that's, but to be honest, those 26 could be 13 drones, which could cut that worker deficit and indeed put it in Ourk's favor. JonnyREcco just continuing to pull ahead in that worker count, and that's just going to be problematic in the long run. Nice dodge there on the Baneling, and the Spire is about to complete for Ourk.
Now, look down here. See these roaches tucked up behind, just in front of the spine crawler? This is preventing those Zerglings that wanted to come into the third from just running straight into the natural base. That is essential for Rico to make sure that he's safe, and he should be able to hold this third base now against a small group of Lings, but may lose a couple of drones in the process.
And it all comes down to now how effective these Mutalisks can be. 11 of them on the way with +1 coming out for Ourk. And, well, JonnyREcco at the moment, he's got his Overlords and Overseers in decent positions, but he doesn't know about the Spire just yet.
Rico has no Spore Crawlers. It's that simple. And with only 3 Queens, he's going to have a tough time defending.
Yeah, and I think the element of surprise here for Ourk could end up evening out the series.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens here. But if Rico gets the... Oh, he's seen them now. Instantly Spore Crawlers start. Now, this isn't a big problem. As long as Rico gets down 2 or 3 spores per base and the Queens, he's going to start... He should start up some additional Queen production and get the Hydras. You can buy enough time by attacking and by getting out those spores to hold off a small group of Mutalisks.
Now, what these Mutalisks need to do, now that the spores are incoming, is Ourk needs to pull his Lings and needs to send them to the third base location at the same time as the Mutas defend the gap between the natural and the third. If JonnyREcco can't get units over there to defend, then Ourk will be able to take the third down despite the Spore Crawlers being there, but he has to do this very quickly before the Hydras come out.
Well, the Hydras already finished 5 Hydras on the way. Remember, Spore Crawlers, of course, deal 45 damage per hit to Mutas. Insanely strong, but it's the Lings coming in from the right that are concerning me because they can take out those spores ASAP.
Yep, it's exactly that. You want the Lings to be able to do the damage while the Mutas effectively just cover for you.
Oh, nice drone pull there by Rico, away from the Mutalisks. Really smart play.
And picking apart a Queen, but at the expense of a Muta. There needs to be very careful. 3 shots, but he might be able to get the Roach Warren here. There are no transfuse available right now. Trying to pick apart some Hydralisks as well. Is Ourk going to get the Roach Warren? It's very close to dying. Yes, he does.
But of course, the Hydrogen is there at the moment, so this new Roach Warren instantly getting started. But look at this. Ourk going up to Hive Tech very quickly. Not something that you see ever at this stage in a ZVZ normally.
Very interesting indeed. We've got, some links coming into the natural, trying to pick apart the Spore Clone, unable to do so because the roaches are there as well. Let's keep an eye on this hive tech from Ourk and whether he can make it pull off.
Now remember, Rico is still, though, 6 drones ahead and has been for an extraordinarily large amount of time. That's going to be helpful for him. All these Mulas catching a couple of roaches out of position here will force Rico back.
Yeah, those roaches just not able to do anything, of course, against the mutas. Can't shoot up, but there are hydras in the back, and Ourk really has to be wary of those going forward. But he is going to be trying to respond to this with immediate Ultralisks. What do you think about this?
It's a bit concerning, to be honest, because there's going to be a lot of roaches and a lot of hydras out, and the ultras, you need a good number to be able to engage that, because otherwise, with the 2-1 upgrades, which are in JonnyREcco's favour, he's just going to be able to out-DPS the ultras.
We really need something, maybe a couple of infestors in addition to the ultras would be quite useful there. Let's keep an eye on whether that actually ends up happening. Of course, he will have had to get that infestation pit, as you can see, to get up to that hive in the first place, so let's see if he ends up making use of it.
Oh, look at these roaches split pushing. They're going to be coming in towards the natural and third to draw attention, allowing the ones at the back to try and take out some of the drones, and that is exactly what Ourk is going to fall for. The Ling's coming round, and that means the roaches pushing straight up. If he snipes off this hatch, it will be disastrous for Ourk.
Oh, and Ourk at the moment, he's not looking like he's got a great grip on this hatch. He needs to be very careful indeed. Real struggle moment for him here. Let's see if he can get back into this. Very, very close. The hatch is going to fall, though. And
this isn't looking good.
No, the Muta's just not able to do enough DPS to keep them away.
And of course the Hydralisks are coming forward, picking off Overlords, but the Ultras are now on the field for Ourk. Are they going to be enough, though, to stop this? Look at the DPS from those Hydralisks, just picking apart the Ultras pretty quick. Great splitting as well from JonnyREcco at the moment.
I mean, the Ultras do a lot of damage to the Hydras as well, don't get us wrong or anything. But just the travel time to the Hydras is really what's hurting him at the moment. And JonnyREcco right now, he's up to 122 supply versus the 99 from Ourk. This is looking increasingly difficult for Ourk to win this game. It still might happen, though. I mean, those Ultras can absorb a lot of damage up front.
Unfortunately, only one Ultralisk left on the field. That isn't too great for, of course, Ourk. But Rico, he doesn't have too many Hydras. Actually, he's got no Hydralisks, only pumping roaches at the moment. So it's only the Spore Callers to defend against these Mutalisks. His plan is that, well, I should be able to kill you before your Mutas can kill my roaches. And that's actually quite a good strategy at this stage.
Yeah, don't forget, Mutas kill roaches at a rate of approximately 1 roach per 10 Mutas per lifetime. So it's entirely possible that happens. As we can see, the Muta's chasing the roaches now, just about picking off one of the injured sick ones straggling at the back there. But they take ages to kill them, don't they?
They do, and regardless of anything else, Rico is still ahead 64 to 50 drones, and look at the income difference that makes. He's mining about 700 more minerals a minute and 200 more gas a minute. That is a huge lead, all because that third base of Ourk was sniped down.
And the lack of this third base means it's a bit of a race against time for Ourk now to try and get as much done with these Mutas as he possibly can. He is picking apart a couple of Hydras, though, which is very nice. Of course, those units can be quite expensive on the gas, picking apart a few drones in gas as well, and now having the rest of the army catches up.
Now, Ourk's plan at the moment, long distance mine, try and get some more Ultras out. I'm just going to try and end this game as quickly as possible. But remember, these Ultras, do they have chitinous plating? Yes, they do. And that is with the 1-2 upgrade. So they don't deal that much damage, but boy, can they tank up a lot. But unfortunately, the Mutalisks, only 8 remaining on the field right now, and there's quite a few Hydras.
Yeah, and these Hydras are going to be a little bit of an issue because of the sheer DPS they can do. We have some Lings and Ultras trying to push this army back. Will successfully do so, but they're not really doing a massive amount of damage to JonnyREcco right now. He's actually about 40 supply ahead, and he's taking his 5th base. So Ourk needs... 4th, sorry. You're absolutely right. But Ourk needs to make something happen. He needs to do it right now.
Yeah, this is, well, as we can see, quite a nice little position for Rico to be in. He needs to not be aggressive, though, incidentally, because Ourk is only just now trying to retake his 3rd base. All Rico needs to do is say, do you know what? Mine out. I need to keep getting my upgrades, keep getting my tech. And I'd like to see the Hive come down for Rico so he can start those 3-3 upgrades.
The 3-3 would end up making a big difference in this situation.
Oh my goodness, you know what else is missing? This is huge. He doesn't have Hydra speed researched.
Oh dear. Well, I wonder how much that's going to play as a factor considering he's 50 supply ahead, but you're absolutely right. Look at how slow those Hydras are off Crete.
And that is a big problem. He can't react to these Mutalisks quickly enough, can't get in a good position quickly enough for those fast counterattacks. The Mutalisks are just going to keep poking in. This is actually really nicely done by Ourk, who unfortunately has got supply blocks after losing that Overlord and is not until now making any more.
Alright, so without that Hydra speed, of course, we are in forced Wings of Liberty mode with JonnyREcco. He's got the Groove Spines, I believe, but not the augmented, not the muscular augments, rather, which is what they need to travel that quickly off of creep. He's going for his own hive as well, and we have some Banelings coming in now for Ourk.
Yeah, Ourk, these Banelings are essential because it's going to allow him to try and connect with the Hydras. If he does that, suddenly the DPS of this army gets massively reduced. That's going to be a big thing for Ourk if he can get those hits. But Rico has Banelings of his own ready to try and stop that from occurring. So it's all going to come down to this fight, Jorasa.
And there's a fair number of units out in the middle of the map. Rico is now maxed out versus the 140 for Ourk, so this is a good time for him to move out. Will these Roaches and Hydras be enough DPS? He's moving towards a third base location. Ourk is getting organized himself, and here come the Ultras.
Yeah, of course, these Roaches do have to spread out as best as possible. Baneling hits going off with the Hydras in the back. Can they deal enough damage, Jorasa?
No Baneling hits on the Hydras mean that their DPS is entirely preserved right now, but are the Ultras a little bit too much? They're munching through JonnyREcco's Hydras. He's engaged somewhere else, and that's because he has another attack coming in with the natural.
Yeah, the natural base is getting cleaned up here. Mutalisks have defended from the third, but, of course, is this attack into the main going to be enough? Can Rico scramble together enough units to defend against these Ultras? Well, a good number of Spines are here. There's also a good number of Roaches on the way, and it looks like Ourk doesn't want to take that fight.
No, he doesn't. He's currently up to 100 supply versus 147 of Rico.
Oh, the old cavern. It's getting targeted, Jorasa.
And I don't think we have any transfuses around here. Let's see if a Queen pops in just in the nick of time. Coming to so close. And it just about survives by the skin of its teeth.
That is so close. If that had gone down, it pretty much would have been GG. Now, remember, Ourk is still hugely behind in terms of income. He's only got 28 drones compared to the 57 of Rico. 3 bases compared to 4. But look at the resources lost as well. JonnyREcco losing 8,000 more resources than that of Ourk this game.
Yeah, I have to say, Ourk, he's surprising me with how effective these Ultras have been later on. A great concave from JonnyREcco, but he also needs to constantly be kiting back against these Ultras as well, which is what he's doing. He's moving back behind the Spine Crawlers. A little bit of a better engagement than last time. Is it going to be enough, though? 4 Banelings rolling in now for Ourk. Can he get the damage done? He needs to. 2 are in the mineral line, and a big chunk of drones goes down there, and all of a sudden, JonnyREcco feels like he's on the ropes a little bit.
Yeah, he's definitely getting a little bit low. This Ultra is just staying up. The Spine Crawler will be able to get it, though, as it dies. That is a big loss, because, of course, the Transfuses could have kept that a bit more alive. Rico can, incidentally, afford to lose that base, because Roaches are counterattacking into the third of Ourk. Ourk is only at 22 drones compared to the 45 of JonnyREcco.
Yeah, Ourk's doing great damage with his offensive army, but the question is, does he actually have the supply to make this count? And I think that hatch going down might spell disaster for his economy going forward. JonnyREcco successfully picking that apart, and that's going to be that. Ourk doesn't think it's enough.